Today, my guest is 100% Italian. Her name is Simona Pappalardo, and she's a global executive turned leadership coach, speaker, and author who helps professionals navigate change with courage and cultural intelligence. With a distinguished career in the electronics and manufacturing industry, she brings a rare blend of technical precision and human centered perspective to her work. Her book, Authentically Yours, follows Simona Pappalardo's journey from global executive to courageous and values driven leader. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today, Viviana. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. So, how did your own cross cultural experiences shape the leader and coach you've become?
Well, over the course of my life and my career, I really had the opportunity of meeting people different than me. And I think that has really enabled me to understand what leading across culture means. So I started my experience with diversity, let me say, when I was a teenager. And I started going to study holidays in Ireland, in Scotland, living with family that were hosting me, and suddenly realized that not everyone leads the same life, right? And so
Right.
that was eye-opening for me. And then I had the opportunity of being an expat in Malaysia for 1 year, where I've definitely met a very different culture. By the way, I fell in love with a person from
Oh,
Malaysia, and now we're married. And so it was really the encounter of seeing life through different lenses, right? And so that's when I realized that on one side, we are all human beings. So there are certain things that matter no matter where you are in the world, like safety, like being able to provide for your family, those basic things. But then also, now that I've been living in the United States for more than a decade, I've come to realize how, anyway, there are different point of view, right? And so it's very important not only to treat others like you want to be treated, but even more so, treat others like they want to be treated.
agree. Thank you, Simona. And was there a season or experience that tested your confidence or authenticity, one that still influences your coaching today?
When I was in Malaysia, I
Mhm.
had the chance of really advocating for my colleagues. There were certain conditions in the lab that I was dealing with that were not according to, let's say, Europe, right? And so that was the first time, I guess, when I really understood what were my values and what were the things that I could not close an eye to, versus certain things that maybe in the corporate world you have to compromise, you have to agree with people, right? But what are those core things that make you you? Make you proud of mirroring yourself in the mirror if you want. And so that's what I also now with my coaching clients, I help them really understand. So, what are the things that are authentically you, right? And are core to who you are versus what are the many other things that by understanding also other people's perspective, you can compromise, negotiate, understand how to tweak so that on one side you create strong teams, but on the other side you don't lose yourself in the process.
Absolutely. And what do you wish more women understood about leading in global multicultural environments?
I wish that more women would understand that adapting to a culture doesn't mean giving up who you are. I like very much to have this conversation with my clients when I say we need to adapt to a culture, right? People sometimes react like, what do you mean adapt? Yes, but this I am Italian or I am whatever, right? And I really care about keeping my identity, my heritage, and all that. And I say, absolutely. But when you are in a different culture, you also need to make sure that the perception that you are generating is tally with the colored lenses that that culture puts on top of. And maybe you don't know that they are different from your country of origin, right? So it's not about changing who you are at the core. It's much more about having more flexibility in the way you behave to make sure that the perception you generate is exactly what you meant and is not distorted through the culture.
Of course. Let's talk about music now. Is there an artist or a song that is really meaningful to you and why?
Yes. So I have always loved Eminem and specifically Lose Yourself came out while I was studying engineering. And I mean, let's be honest, studying engineering is not for the faint of hearts, right? Like it's something that is inherently challenging. And so I remember preparing all of my exams and all of that with this song that talks about you have only one opportunity and you don't want to miss it, right? Like, and now don't take me wrong, I perfectly get that you can retake an exam in the university, but I think that song shaped a little bit my view on life in the sense that that's really what I try to do. Like when there is an opportunity that comes my way, I look at it as if this is the only opportunity that I will get, right? And I try to live through it and look at maybe it's an opportunity, but it's also a challenge. And I'm like, okay, but when will this happen to me again? And sometimes things do happen again, but the context is different. So actually, every opportunity is unique ultimately, and that's what I try to do. Like not self-doubting myself, but when there is an opportunity, being ready or not, let me say, I go for it. And that's what I think Eminem meant with that song. And really, it stuck with me.
Ah, great mindset, Simona. And last question for you. What are your goals or ambitions for the next year and for your future?
Yeah, so I am now a business owner. After 20 years in corporate America, I have decided to venture out and opening my own coaching business. And as we said, I've also written a book now. And with that, I really look forward to the next year and the next couple of years as me being able to spread this message. As I said before, I truly believe that authenticity matters. And I truly also believe that a lot of people struggle sometimes to understand how to merge authenticity in a multicultural environment, a very complex environment. Nowadays, we have to deal with a lot of things, you know? And so I really look forward to spreading this message and keep using my voice to help people out.
Thank you. And where can we find more information about your coaching and your book?
Absolutely. You can go to my website, www.coachingwithsimona.com. And there is a page dedicated to the book and all of the offerings that I have in my business. And don't feel shy, reach out, and I'm sure we can have an engaging conversation and see what specifically fits your needs.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Simona Pappalardo.
Thank you once again, Viviana.
Grazie.